What is up, everybody? So, today is going to be a Super 73 ride. We're going to be riding on the Super 73 S1 version. I've got the Coyote Tan bike all set up. It's a fun bike. I really like it. But today we're just going to do a quick little ride to the store. Just a little scoot and grab. And go pick up a beer at the local market right down the street here. So we're close to Choyas Lake. It's a pretty cool little lake. We're gonna cut through the side of it, but it's just a regular quickie, nothing crazy. Just kind of your standard run-of-the-mill, testing out some equipment, seeing how it does. But we're filming from the Akaso Brave 7. Seems to be a pretty good camera versus the GoPro. The GoPros seem to overheat pretty easy, where these don't seem to be having such an issue like that. Right now I'm stopping at the truck. I'm grabbing my sunglasses out of it. It's a little bright for the eye holes, so definitely want to avoid that extra UV rays into the eye holes. Save those for later. You only get 2 of them. But yeah, we're gonna grab those sunglasses, jump back onto the bike here, and get rolling. I hope everybody's having a good day, and I hope that the weather is similar to what you're seeing here where you're at. It's always good to have a nice sunny and calm day. But yeah, we're cruising down the street right now. We do have the auto stabilization set up on that camera, and it seems to work pretty well. I'm pretty impressed with that camera so far. When I first got it, it did have audio issues, so that's why we're going over this one with a dub on top with the audio. But it is fixed now. They did some kind of update, something like that, which definitely helped out. It made a huge difference in the quality of it, which is nice. But yeah, we're cruising up the street here. And I am smoking. I don't recommend smoking. It's not a good habit to pick up. This is a good habit though, stopping at stop signs and making sure that everything's clear. Last thing you want to do is go tumbling down this dirty ass road. That wouldn't be fun. So this is a pretty good hill right here. I'm not hitting full throttle or anything. I'm just lightly pedaling with it, and it has no problems with any of these hills, which is really cool. I do enjoy that fact. I do like taking the sidewalks a little more than the streets. Generally, if I see foot traffic, anything like that, I try to avoid going on the sidewalks. I'll go around. I generally like to be on the sidewalk, though. It feels a lot safer. I mean, I grew up riding my BMX bikes all over the place, and the sidewalk was where you were. I remember when I was growing up, they'd yell at you, "Get out of the road!" That was normal, especially in the 80s and the early 90s. There generally wasn't bicycle lanes on the sides of roads. There were some small areas where that was generally accepted, but that's also why they put the wheelchair ramps on the corners everywhere. There's generally a ramp for wheeled pedestrian vehicles. So yeah, we're cruising up. This is another hill right here. Doesn't look that steep, but it's actually a pretty good steep hill. As soon as we get over the crest of it, you're definitely going to be able to tell that it's pretty steep coming down. And those speed bumps are huge too. That car is going super slow, and you see it practically jump that. Here's one of the churches up here on the right. Not really sure what church it is. I've never been in that one. But it has a little bell that goes off, I think, like at noon every day. You hear it dinging the bells. So yeah, here's this hill, and it's pretty steep down this. You can kind of tell that it's a little steeper than normal, but we're gonna cut across this street, and that's Choyas Lake right there on the right hand side. Pretty cool little spot. You can kind of cruise around the lake and all that. Apparently it used to be a landfill, I guess back in like 1950 or something like that. And what's odd is there are still some little foundations from like houses or at least buildings that were out here, probably the processing buildings or whatever they were. It's kind of a weird little spot, but apparently it was a landfill at some point in time and was all cleaned up long time ago. But it's a pretty cool little spot. Got your eucalyptus trees out here and like a bunch of other ones. They got some kind of disease though, and they had chopped down like a whole bunch of them. It's really weird. So there's a lot of trees that are missing that used to be in this area. They turned them into mulch. But yeah, we're just cutting along to the left here. We're on the outside of it. We're kind of passing around the western side of the lake. Like if I were to take a right, that would actually go over toward where the water is on the lake itself. But this is the cool little trail I like to take. It's a fun little spot. And there are some jumps in this area if you're like mountain biking. So there's some cool little areas. So there's also a small like RC car track up at the top. It's not a like sanctioned track or anything like that. It's kind of all the neighborhood people kind of built it and turned it into like a little cool track spot. It's pretty nice though. I've taken my cars up there and had some fun with them. It's relatively smooth, basically all sand. Definitely a fun little course though. Go up there and hang out with some people. So we did a full speed burst right there. We got up to I think like 25 or 26 miles an hour on that little run right there. And we are here. This is my favorite spot to stop off at if you want some snacks or some drinks. They got all the like homemade incense right there, those giant sticks that are like kind of cheap. They're really more smoke than they are like good smells, but they do work. It's not bad. And there's the dipshit right there that's talking right now on the mic. Getting our beer. I just need that beer, man. Grabbing a beer, going on a bike ride. Just a typical day, relaxing. All right, back on the road. Let's finish this ride back home with our newly acquired hydration device, or I guess dehydration device, whichever way you like to look at it. Adjust our mirrors, get those working again, that way we can see what's going on behind and to the sides of us. But it's a pretty quick mission. This is definitely one of the faster little missions here. It's not not like a long ride or anything like that. We'll be putting together a couple of the other videos. There's one where me and a friend are cruising in PB, Pacific Beach. So I will be putting that one together, and that video is going to drop in a few days. If not today, if I can get all the editing done. Editing is definitely a hassle. It's not fun, that's for sure. Especially when you're using like a cheap method like I am. I'm working with the iMovie right now. It's not great, but it does get the job done. Not terrible, at least. I really do need something like Final Cut Pro. That really would make a difference in the quality of these videos. Also being able to put some graphics across some things, stuff like that. Highlight some stuff, which I'd like to be able to do. But yeah, that stabilization works pretty well. This is definitely not a super smooth trail. I mean, it's got its bumps, and it's definitely a very high quality camera. I mean, for what you get and the price, the Akaso Brave, it's not bad. It gets the job done quite well, I must say. Definitely happy with it. Also happy with the Super 73. I've been able to ride so far on this bike and basically only barely touch down to like 3 battery bars from the 4 when it's at full. So you can really travel on these things and really get some miles in. I like it. I got the bike maybe about 2 years ago or so, and I'm at like 438 miles now on it, and that was easy to do. I mean, I don't ride it all the time, but yeah, I was able to definitely put some miles on this thing, and it was all pretty comfortable. Haven't really had any issues. I did change the seat. I got one of those like nice looking seats from Etsy. That guy that sells them for like $200. Not a cheap seat, but it is worth it. The stock seat is not very comfortable. It's an odd shape to it. So this hill, that's the one that we went down. Right here, I let off completely on throttle and then started back up just to see what it would do. And I'm pedaling a little bit with it, but nothing that would make me sweat. And yeah, it had no problem. I thought I was gonna maybe have to walk up that, but because I usually hit it with speed and it has no trouble at all. So kind of wanted to see what it did there. So I just let off completely and checked it out, and yeah, no, it still climbs up that hill. It was slow. It was like 7 miles an hour, but it still actually did it. No big deal. See, I'm dodging some people right there. Try to stay out of the sidewalk when there's people walking up and down them. Plus, this is downhill. I can go fast. It's always fun to go fast. But yeah, we're making some distance pretty quick. That's a pretty fast ride. Definitely doesn't take that long to do. We're basically like 2 minutes away from getting back home. Couple of speed bumps. This is like not the steepest hill, but it's still definitely a hill, and it's a pretty long hill. But I just cruise up it at normal speed. I don't hit full throttle or anything up the hill, which you can get it up to about like 17 or 18 up this hill. It doesn't really have any trouble getting up it, but I do like to preserve battery. I don't like to just wring it out all the time. Don't make it work too hard, you know? Yeah, and that paint on that car is kind of cool too. So no power down this, just basically cruising. And then I usually start hitting power again like after that pole or so. But yeah, that's basically a quick little Super 73 ride. Nothing super crazy, just a fun little quick cruise. We make it back into the backyard. Kitty's running away, and that's it. But that's fun. That was a good little ride. So I will catch you guys on the next one.